It's that time of year where it is the most exciting for fantasy managers. Blanks are established, doubles are manufactured, cup games have gone and by. But more importantly, where could we potentially play our chips? Welcome to the FPL Addicts Gameweek 22 podcast. Good evening to you all, and if you may be watching from the other side of the world, good morning to you. It is only a day away from deadline day, but it's also the day of the Game Week 22 deadline. And without further ado, we've got so much to talk to in this Game Week's installment. And tonight, I'm joined by yet again this campaign football chat box, the man himself, and Ryan. Ryan, good evening to you from. Pretty sure you're in Sydney in what looks like your Manchester United themed garage.
It's just my tiny nook in my apartment. But yes, good evening to you, Chaza. How are you doing?
Yeah, I'm all right, thank you. I'm relatively excited about what lies ahead, especially with two deadlines in the next 5 days. But what a quiet January it's been. It's been one deadline within the last month. And in December, I'm pretty sure we had 6 to 7 deadlines. Did you benefit or, let's say, enjoy much of a league break from football?
It was a bit, I would say it was a bit of boring kind of. Benefit on the other hand, well, haven't watched too much football. Did watch a bit of the FA Cup games, some of the highlights, but overall, I think it's kind of been like probably a bit stale. I don't know if I really want to go through another campaign like this of 2-3 weeks of nothing. Probably, I don't know. Depends, because you go with so many deadlines and then you're suddenly bam, nothing. And in the space of nothing, KDB has risen 3 times, which is also crazy. But yeah.
With you, that is quite mildly amusing. Were you a fan of a winter break as well with that previous game week going across 2 weeks, or would you rather have an extra week off and then all of the sides playing within that one weekend?
To be honest, thinking about my travel plans next year, I don't mind having this kind of winter break because I'm not going to be available next year, Jan. So personally, I won't mind it because I won't have to focus on FPL. I can just enjoy my trip. But when you if there was other football going on, maybe it's very hard to say because I don't mind the break, but I think we're going to get into a time period where now we're going to be hit with deadlines and various double game weeks and all. In one way, I don't know how much of effect this will be, but I think the engaged manager might potentially benefit from having this long break and then suddenly into so many game weeks, because the casual manager might have just forgotten about a game week this week as well. Midweek, they might be expecting one on the weekend, but I think there is a potential for maybe an engaged manager to benefit from this sudden break and then suddenly back to a lot. But I'm 50-50 personally.
Within the winter break, was there a certain competition that caught your eye? It could even be from outside England because there's been a lot of headlines from AFCON. Asia Cup hasn't been bad for what it's worth too, but we've also had the FA Cup and the Carabao Cup. Has there been any massive news outbreak that stood out to you?
Well, Asian Cup, I think we saw Australia still into the next round. That's good. We have South Korea playing today. So we'll kind of wait and see. I think by the time the deadline strikes, we'll know whether Heung-min Son is coming back for next game week or not. So we kind of have to wait and see on that. AFCON, we saw a few surprising results. I think the most surprising thing was Salah being injured, which kind of now throws more chaos into already existing chaos of planning in terms of trying to figure out, is Haaland fit? Now we kind of had to figure out, is Salah fit? And when do we get both of them with all these doubles and everything coming up? But I've mostly been looking at like picture-wise in terms of how it impacts the Premier League clubs. Now Senegal also got knocked out, which means like the likes of Jackson is back, Pape Sarr for Spurs, Bentancur is back as well. So a lot of players coming back that could help their teams from FPL perspective.
Just a lovely flying comment from probably one of our closest fans of the page. Good morning to you, Colin Bugler. Question for week, and who in God's name do we captain? That is something we will answer come later in the show because it has thrown a massive curveball, just like the weekly Powerball that you may put your money into. I mean, well, yeah, so we've talked all sorts of competitions, but let's rewind a bit. Let's go back to Game Week 21. And before we get to our own mini league on in which this page is all about and all of our sites, Ryan, how did your previous game week go in general? And as you get up to your screen up, is there any brief thoughts in regard to any elements that may have surprised you?
So let me bring up my team actually. So I'm assuming people can see it.
Yeah, I'll just add it to the stage. It should be all good. Yeah, so 65 points.
Yes.
It's not a bad season. It is quite competitive. Is that around so just under 500K?
497K, yeah, right now. Let me actually
497K. Okay.
Yeah.
What did you like about this?
So I think Gabriel's 17-pointer helped a lot, to be honest. The Palmer captaincy also paid off, I would say. Apart from that, to be honest, the rest of the midfield, Bernardo, I had Bernardo as a differential. I got him in last week against Foden. And I got Foden in this week as a -4. Now, looking back at it, I wish I didn't do that -4 because I think it would have been like about 7 points or something better off. Like I would have started Osula and not have taken the -4 as well. So I would have been better off if I didn't do it. But I've done it now. And now I have Foden in and we've come to captaincy because I think we've seen a tweet that could throw a spanner in the works. But overall, it was a tiny green arrow. It looked good before the Brighton game, and then the Brighton ended up keeping a clean sheet with Wolves, and a lot of people have Estupinian as well, so that kind of affected the size of the green arrow. But green is green, so slowly climbing up to the top 100K.
So really, it's not a bad team either. Is that Osula who ended up getting 4 points as well?
Yeah.
So he got an assist.
Yeah.
Wow, that is quite a surprise. I mean, Brathwaite at home to Aston Villa, which is not a bad point for Everton when you think about it. And in Villa's last 3 games, including their cup game, which we will talk about at some stage because that is a huge game in terms of future game weeks to come, they managed a goalless draw away at Stamford Bridge 2 against Chelsea. Is there a lack of scoring power at the moment, or do you feel opponents are figuring out Ollie Watkins a little better?
I think it's probably the fixtures for Watkins. It hasn't been as... I guess if I was to just go like Everton, Burnley, United, Sheffield United, we probably expected more than what he actually returned, to be honest.
Yeah, was it 2 assists only in that run?
Yeah. The one thing I would add is I think Unai Emery has been like tinkering with the side as well, having starting like both Leon Bailey and Diaby, which I don't think has helped Watkins as well. 2 right wingers, not preferably. Hopefully, the upcoming game week he doesn't do that against Newcastle because I'm starting Watkins and benching Trippier. But fixtures coming up are good for him, and I've seen a lot of people looking at selling Watkins to try and fund certain other moves. But with the current fixtures, I'm not really sure if I want to do that. I still think they're good. They're a good team. It's just that Unai Emery has been tinkering a bit, and hopefully he goes back to what he was doing before when they were actually performing.
He's a fascinating one, Ollie Watkins, at the moment. As you said, good fixtures, all single game week as it stands, but there could be future doubles on the hand. Fantastic evaluation, by the way, on your side, and I really hope there's more green arrows to come and you shooting for the stars, I must admit, Ryan. So well done to you.
Thank you.
I will go straight now into our own mini league. Hopefully the scrolling's working. And look, Ollie Walker-Peel, before I get to his team, I want to mention something. A massive effort to you, and I hope you had a great trip to the UK, especially watching Burnley versus Luton. Alfie Doughty's last-minute assist to Carlton Morris's head, in which probably should have been ruled out in retrospect. But I'm not sure the same could be his FPL side could be the same for his enjoyment of his trip. 45 points, including a hit, double Arsenal clean sheet, which helped, along with a Palmer goal. Richarlison, which I felt was a good pick. And that's about it. The captaincy stinks from him. And steal 10 points. I don't mean to use all the words that you may have said, Ryan, but it's not amazing from Oliver. What's your take on that?
Well, he still has Haaland. I think he's kind of did that in terms of like Haaland's injury. I probably would have sold and like bought back. But maybe this week is the week where he gets some of those points back that he's missed out on. The steal, I mean, I probably wouldn't have started Vicario, even though United are pretty bad. I still would have started.
I wouldn't have done either.
I think that was probably one move that could have made a difference. And then captaincy, I mean, we all know Villa away aren't the best team. Probably would have been slightly different. I would have gone Palmer or even Richarlison. I wouldn't have mind, to be honest. But I'd probably put it on Palmer. Could have been better. Could have avoided the disaster that happened. But yeah.
Could have done better indeed. We're off to one of your good mates, and I've really liked the friendship that you have developed with this guy from an outsider so far this campaign. It's Reedy's side. He finished on 54 points. What did stand out is Gusto, Stupinian both getting returns down back. Palmer captain. Now that is important. He did nail the captaincy, and outside of that, nothing was provided. He has Salah and Kabore. I'm very intrigued by what his moves might be this week. Any standout trait from this side in your
did he do 2 free transfers or was it like a one transfer? He took a hit as well.
He took a hit. So have a look. No, so I'm on the wrong section.
Go to transfer history. Yeah.
Thank you. Jeez, he's made 28 transfers. What?
He bought in Estupinian and Pascal Gross. Okay. Yeah. I'll be interested to see what he does with Salah. That's what I want to know.
Yeah, that's right. Let's go to Jack. I don't think we'll spend too much time on this. 41. But
KDB.
There's something that stands out, and over to you, Brian, on this.
So KDB is there.
Yeah.
There's a -8 there. I think he bought KDB in part of it.
Yeah, he would have done. So it's more that I've won, but at what cost?
Yeah.
There, he got a Stupinian as well. He got 8 points, but outside of that, Saka, look, was it robbed of an assist, do you feel, Ryan?
When I saw that, first I was like, okay, they're giving it, okay. But then I saw the replay and I saw that angle of where like Gabriel had actually hit it at Dean Henderson, and it's actually Dean Henderson is completely out of the goal. So it's going straight at Dean Henderson. So even if Dean Henderson wasn't there, I don't think it's still going into goal. So at that moment, I was like, okay, I understood why it was taken away. But now they've given it back, which kind of makes no sense to me. But they've given it. So I'm like, well, it's just another case of a Pascal Gross where we were complaining last. Pascal Gross, yes. Sorry, no, Solly March. We were complaining about goals not being given and whatnot.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. It is what it is. It happens.
Still salty about that from last season, if you ask me. Over to Mikey's team. He got the highest of the 6 panel members this week, is 65. No, he didn't actually, because he took a -8. I took a -4, but you'll see my team shortly. Okay, so it was actually a really good score, but one thing did let him down. What do you reckon, chat box, that would be?
Captaincy.
Yep, bingo. Straight away. But I'll give him kudos. Not kudos on the Diogo Jota pick.
Indeed. That's true. That was massive. I think that's what saved his game week.
Yeah, and it looked to be 4 clean sheets at the back as well, just quietly.
No, Trippier. Oh, yeah, 4 clean sheets, but Trippier is also on there. Oh, that's because Trent was.
Yeah. It's including Allison there. So 4 of a possible 5. Jeez, this
and Gordon on the bench.
I just trying to figure out who he played. Yeah, Man City. Yeah, he was talking about us on the pod. The last game week about whether benching or fielding Gordon. I think if you had that team, you probably would have set it out the way it did. It was just more.
I
Would you have
probably
done?
would- so the question is, I don't know what happened to can you do is the auto subs, if you go to auto subs, they're right down there. Did Trippier come on for Trent and Haaland came on for Branthwaite? I probably would have put Gordon as one of the first auto subs.
Yeah, I think it's important to favour the attacking midfield, attacking play
Yeah.
always.
That's what I would have sorted, because Trippier then wouldn't have come on and then you would have had Gordon's points.
That's right. Elliot, who's not far behind. I mean, he doesn't say much on this pod, in fairness. Elliot, you haven't been on for 13 months, so pull your head in. But he's doing all right this season with 49 points, which is the same amount of games Arsenal were unbeaten roughly 20 seasons ago. Look, Porro, Palmer, James Ward-Prowse, I actually quite like his pick. 9 points. Some were probably thinking of maybe getting a replacement from him in terms of funding extra moves. But when you look at Sheffield on paper, would you agree that it was a worthy to hold a player such as that?
As Ward-Prowse?
Yeah.
To be honest, I would have, if I had, how long has he had Ward-Prowse? Because I would have probably sold Ward-Prowse for long ago, because Ward-Prowse is one of those players that you don't always expect consistent results. It just once in a way he will actually hit.
So he came in for Jared Bowen when he was flagged.
In game 14. Yeah, it's been a long time. I probably would have sold Ward-Prowse by now. But this week he returned, so it kind of helped. But overall, I don't know how. It's a differential pick, but not as great, I would say.
Yeah. And last but not least says, my team, Gabriel, just like you, I'll just go fist bump to the camera just like that. 17 points. Probably the haul we've been waiting for all season. And were you one of those managers, so before I get back to my team, that benched Gabriel away at Liverpool?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
That was crap, wasn't it?
Yeah. 10 points on the bench.
It was. Yeah.
Yeah.
Porro, I had to check if I did a clean sheet. No. So what I said about 4 out of 5 clean sheets, I was wrong. Porro just got attacking returns. I forgot for a second. Tottenham don't do clean sheets this season. Zinchenko, which proved a not bad differential on 6.
He also, I think, is an assist. Yeah.
He did get an assist. Yeah. So that was my first hit for the season, because Foden came in for some, which unfortunately didn't pay off, but he had about 3 attempted assists. Blanked. Palmer was there. Gordon, I kind of knew I had to field him because of the predicament I was in, and I wasn't willing to do a -8. And he scored, which is fantastic. That was a really good differential. And the rest, yeah, tell me about it. So,
I mean, you're still in a pretty good spot. You have both Salah and Haaland.
yeah.
So
they will lead to interesting discussion points come later on. Before I get the other leagues up, there is something major that did occur at the end of last week. The announcement that Jurgen Klopp will leave at the end of the season. What does this do for permutations and for fantasy managers? What do they need to look out for? And how will Liverpool, do you think, will perform for the rest of the season?
This is it depends on how it could go 2 ways. They could go whoop, or they could actually be like, okay, we need to win the league for this guy, and be motivated and actually try and put in a good effort. So it's still to be seen as to how this affects Liverpool. I think if I remember correctly, the first time Sir Alex said he was going to retire, the team's performance dropped, United's performance. So we'll see what Klopp's effect has on here. They are obviously at the top right now, but I think going forward after this, at least for next season, might be a different case. We probably won't be looking at Liverpool the same way we're looking at them right now.
Just going straight into one of our mini leagues. In the Women's League, it's relatively tight, and I somewhat enjoy looking at this prior to every game week. 1 hit is all it takes, leads by 8 points. Got 72. We had the finest sales by Tiffany, who got 82. I just want to have a look briefly on the high score of this side. Is 122k, not bad. Mikolenko, Saliba, Palmer, Darwin Núñez. That is an interesting talking point heading into what we think is a Liverpool double game week, but it has not been confirmed yet. Jota, De Bruyne went early and it paid off big
That's 82
time.
with a captaincy fail.
Yeah. So I
That's
really missed that
insane.
point. Yeah, Saka. Oh, jeez, man. Melissa on 1,301. 4 transfers. Jeez. And still 14K. Pretty not bad.
Darwin
And Darwin
captaincy.
captain as well. Yeah, and Zinchenko. Oh, and Moreno. Geez, out of all people, not a bad Dini replacement too. And he will play against Newcastle because Dini's already been ruled out. But it's pretty strong. What's your take?
I mean, it looks good. We'll see how it continues. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. Back onto Liverpool very quickly. Is there going to be a play in your eyes that may cause a massive second half chaotic surprise? Is it really Darwin Núñez time?
Darwin Núñez is one of those players that frustrates me. Like if I was to own him, I can see the appeal to it. The only thing with Darwin Núñez is I prefer Jota and Trent as Liverpool options over Darwin Núñez. I would probably go to Núñez if I had to triple up on Liverpool, and if I was potentially free hitting in 26, which I don't really want to do. So I probably won't end up on Núñez. I might just, if Salah is not fit, probably just go and get Jota. Because I've still got Palmer and Porro, and I kind of need to deal with all of that.
Yeah. Jota's he's probably one of the most explosive players in the game. But it's just now, is Klopp going to get to a point, which is he going to start every game once Mo Salah comes back from his injury? Because he can only play certain positions on that field. Is that correct?
Yeah. So he's mainly deployed in that striker spot, Jota, for Liverpool. Now, the thing with Jota is, even if he doesn't start, he has the ability to come off the pitch and also score.
Yeah, and score. He's probably one of the best to do it too.
Yeah, that's what. So I don't mind owning him, and he's not at an expensive price point as well. So it's actually not a bad. Yeah. Oh, okay. It's a decent price tag.
Yeah, less than 9% too.
So I actually don't mind him. The thing is, he's close to 90 minutes out, at least for this game week and maybe next game week. After that, when Salah is back, his minutes will drop. But we still don't know how long Salah's injury is going to be. That's the thing.
And in addition, we'll touch base in more detail during our discussion section. But Liverpool don't have a game in 26, and that's a big spanner in the works of fantasy managers with their forward thinking.
Indeed. That's where I'm like, depends on what chips you're going to play, right? Because if you're if you plan to free hit in 26, then you can triple up on Liverpool. You could triple up on Liverpool. You can have enough Spurs players and Chelsea players as well. And then come game week 29, if you get the game of if Chelsea are also having a fixture in 29 alongside Arsenal, then you don't have to worry too much. You'll be settled. But if you're not planning to free hit in 26 like me, then there's only so many Liverpool players you can kind of get into your team while having the likes of a Porro and a Palmer and having to deal with that. So that's why.
Straight to our public league we go, and Stephen Smalley still holds a 34-point lead. It's quite commanding at this stage of the season, but with lots of managers yet to play their chips, things can turn upside down or even skyrocket his own lead in a blink of an eye. 65 points, just outside the top 1K, which is absolutely mind-blowing from Stephen. So credit to you. Congratulations up to this point. The question is, as Ryan said before, is he able to carry it on? It's a strong 14-man squad. I don't know what's going on with Bulldog. Is that a muscle injury?
I think the question is, he's got one City, one Liverpool from this, right?
Yeah.
Where is he going? Is the next question.
Oh, yeah. It's one question is about how does he get more in for potential double. But which players is he going to get rid of? Is it going to be Bowen or probably Alvarez. Is it going to be Bowen or a Charlison? Someone else?
Would depend on. I won't mind. It depends on who. If he's getting someone in for this week, right? If he's getting someone in for this week, it's a very tough question. If it's like next week or week after, then Richarlison, I think, might make way before Bowen does. Because Bowen has that fixture in 26.
Yeah. Outside of that, the following 10 that correspond after him is only separated by 30 points. So it's going to be a lot of green and reds in sight on that front. So that's all from our leagues. Now, before we get to our preview, I want to give our shout out to our major sponsor, Bonus Bank, in which Australia and New Zealand's best side hustle, where you can make a guaranteed profit from bookmakers, easy to learn tutorials, and software that does the hard work for you, which also provides our number one probability in terms of clean sheets. And based on probability, the player that is most like who states it as the most likely goal scorer. Onto our preview section for game week 22. I think the important part to start off with is let's have a look at these fixtures because it is midweek. We'll split across 3 different evenings. Which of these games, or even you could pick 2 or 3 if you like, does stand out to you the most?
Okay. Standout fixtures. You mean FPL impact wise? I would say obviously Liverpool versus Chelsea one.
Yeah.
Then City versus Burnley is what we're expecting, and that tweet has kind of thrown in a huge spanner. And then I think the last one I would say is Forest versus Arsenal from a point of view in terms of monitoring Saka. And this you could tell me in this because like Arsenal's play, I think at least the last game, Saka, while the numbers kind of say that he's doing well, when you watch him, he isn't getting on the end of stuff as much as we would like to. And also I noticed that the corners as well, Declan Rice started taking corners from one side, Saka on the other side. So where do you stand on that in terms of that as well, I guess?
Based on Arsenal midfielders this year, there's no one that has particularly stood out on a consistent enough basis. Yes, we saw Martinelli score a double-digit haul off the bench, but you won't get that every week. I feel Martin Odegaard has underperformed this year. So is Bukayo Saka, but he's known as a headline player because of his crazy ownership. Well, last time I checked, he was the most owned player in the game. And that doesn't make any sense, only because it just seems to be people that just say week on week that he's just not delivering. Most owned player in the game. Does that surprise you?
No, because I think people still look at Arsenal and go, because the fixture run is still good, right? And he's on penalties. Like, he can deliver, but it's just like the numbers are there, but he's just not delivering points. That's the one problem. We'll see. Maybe Forest game will be different. Maybe he gets one penalty and everything changes.
Another fixture probably worth mentioning, Villa versus Newcastle, because some managers will have Newcastle players up against their Villa attackers. For example, Trippier and Watkins owners. Gordon up against Emi Martinez owners. You'd have Chelsea players up against Liverpool defenders. It does feel that sort of week, along with West Ham versus Bournemouth, as Dominic Solanke owners probably having Areola in goal. I mean, there's a lot of managers out there that are praying for a penalty to be awarded. Their keeper saves it, and then their own fantasy player knocks it off on the rebound. Is that right?
Maybe. But there's also the situations of like, I don't mind taking a Trent goal and a Palmer goal as well, stuff like that. You mentioned Solanke owners.
Yeah.
I think quite a few managers have benching headaches as well. So between like if you had to bench one of Solanke or Palmer, where would you go?
This is big on Twitter this evening. And we know one of our friends that we know quite well don't mean to mention, in Mira, she benched Palmer way at Luton. Sorry if you're watching this, for 18 points. So I don't think she'll be able to come back to the idea of benching him again. But back on the poll, personally, I benched Palmer only because Liverpool don't usually concede penalties all that often at home. And I read a tweet, it must have been from Andy Martin, that the last time Liverpool conceded a penalty at home would have been against Burnley. Ashley Barnes scored it three seasons ago, and that was when Van Dijk was injured.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
They're both solid teams defensively.
They are.
But I just feel like if Chelsea were to get anything from this game, it kind of has to come from Palmer, is what I'm thinking. Even if they were to get one goal and still lose the game.
That's
but I don't know, it's a tough one.
Yeah, it is. I probably forgot to even add this on the stage, but yeah. So this is where we have it. 5 games on the Tuesday night UK time, and it's all rolling starts, which is absolutely magnificent. So you don't need to even touch FPL Twitter until full time. 3 on the Wednesday night, but really massive games, and another big one, which will lead to further discussion points. Man City versus Burnley. De Bruyne, Haaland, their chances of starting. Who's going to get benched? It's really up in the air right now. And then to finish it all off, Man United travel to the Molineux along with Hammers and Bournemouth. So those are the fixtures there. And I'm sorry, I completely forgot to share on that. So to break it up a bit, we'll go to some of the comments. Pete, who I did actually see once again in person on Friday. Good evening to you. Might just roll the transfer. My head hurts thinking about FPL. When in doubt, don't do anything. Is that not the true motto? Chat box.
Indeed. When in doubt, just roll.
Indeed. Gary, good evening or good morning to you. 80 this week for me. Fair play on Game Week 21. That's an excellent score. Good evening. Good morning to you, Will, where you may be watching around the planet. Got 2 free transfers and insufficient information. Tossing up whether to have a punt on De Bruyne, Jota, or Van Heck. Now, I quite like the Van Heck pick because he started the last 7 games for Brighton, priced at $4 million, owned by 2%. Trying to set up for 26 with gusto. Van Heck is boring, but leaves me flexor ability. So he's got 2 free transfers. We'll answer this quickly. Which direction do you reckon he should go?
Probably one of KDB or Jota. The Van Heck, if it allows you the ability to try and get one of these players as well, I don't mind it. If it might be boring, but their fixture round is pretty good, I would say. But the high upside is obviously KDB and Jota.
Back to Colm's statement, and he's spot on with this. He scored 16 points at home to Newcastle later in the season, back in mid-April. You would really be grinding your teeth all game come later this evening, benching Watkins, I feel, away at Newcastle. And we see how depleted Newcastle are away from home, especially recently. I think the exits in the Carabao Cup and the Champions League have drained him. Is that true in your eyes?
I would say so. I think the number of fixtures actually drained them. They were just like at one point they just needed a break, and I think they've got that break now. But again, still away not great. Villa at home are different beast.
Let's go back to the market. As per usual, the most sold heading into Game Week 22 is Mohamed Salah with 613,000 managers or having already sold him. But the trailing person behind him, there isn't that much of a gap as opposed to Game Week 21, when it looked so obvious that Salah and Son would be back. Not be back, but would be going straight to their respective tournaments. Salah being AFCON, Son in the Asia Cup, and then third most transferred out for Game Week 22, Phil Foden with 267,000 owners. Bowen fourth with 257k. Haaland, I know, 5th most transferred out. Do any of these stats surprise you?
The Foden one.
Yeah.
But I understand the Foden one because I was speaking to some managers, and I think they were they were more worried about Foden losing minutes with KDB back, and I think that's what's driving it potentially. Because I think Foden's minutes should be fine. Now, having said that, there is that tweet that we saw, and now I have no idea whether Pep really is about to strike and like Foden's going to get benched or something for like Doku and yeah. So I can understand why Foden's in there, but it's also like somewhat shocking as well, to be honest.
Yeah, so in case anyone wants to get some more context based on what Ryan's saying, so it's at FPL Main Road, MANE, on Twitter. He tweets at 8:22 p.m. our time. Captain isn't going to be as straightforward as I thought it'd be. I agree. What does that even mean? And this is from someone that I think will potentially does provide legs. Is that correct?
Yes, he's pretty accurate with legs.
He's pretty accurate, yeah. So, but you think in general, Foden rarely loses a spot, even with KDB returning, because he's so integral to Pep's plans. Is he?
It's so hard to say because the thing is, it's Burnley, right? It's such an easy fixture where Pep goes, maybe I can rest some players. So, that's why I was like, when you look at the fixture, like this is the money fixture in terms of where you want your captain and all of that, and you think they're going to get a lot of goals. But then if Pep really strikes, now it could also mean it might not even mean Foden. It could be Alvarez. Because a lot of people were thinking of Alvarez as well as captaincy. Maybe KDB is playing that false 9 spot. That's a possibility. I don't know.
Does that
Foden maybe?
If Alvarez is benched, does that mean?
How?
No. Does he start?
I don't know. This is, I thought he was going to get subbed on, but you never know with Pep at this point.
He didn't away at Tottenham. We'll get to the other cup competitions not too far away from doing so. The most transferred in now, I'll go from 5th to 1st, and you'll find out why in a moment. Ivan Toney, 5th most transferred in, rightly so. Brentford have a coming double game week 25. But there is a case saying that is he even worth going down that path, considering how difficult Brentford's fixtures are, especially within the 8 coming game weeks. 4th being Purvis Estupinian, and that probably makes sense. 291,000 managers bringing him in. Palmer 3rd with 310k, despite travelling away at Anfield. Diego Jota, who I think just ticked over 10% just before I was wrong. Sorry about the ownership. He's on 339,000. But this is the big staggering point. Kevin De Bruyne, 1,370,000 managers. I bought him in
3 times in price this game week.
You think it's I know the transfer curse is real, but he's going to end up on just 1 point, isn't he?
Oh, I would love it if it does. But you bought him KDB, so I don't know how. I don't know where to.
The teasers come out. Teaser alert to the viewers already. But yeah, out of this lot, do they make more sense than the transfers out?
No, the transfers make sense. You can understand why. Yeah, even the Tony one kind of makes sense because he doesn't blank in 26. He doesn't blank in 29. Fixtures are tough, yeah, but people are kind of pushing this narrative of Tony could be a good option. Still think with the fixtures being tough, I probably wouldn't go there, but I understand why people are going there.
But ever since the last deadline, we've learned so much. We start from the Carabao Cup semi-finals, going over 2 legs. Chelsea beating Middlesbrough 6-1 on aggregate. Liverpool beating Fulham 3-2 on aggregate, from what I can remember as well. So Chelsea-Liverpool Carabao Cup final. This means 4 sides blank in game week 26. Chelsea were meant to play Tottenham at home. That will be postponed till later in the season. Liverpool will be at home. We're meant to play at home to Luton, but that's also being postponed. But we don't know where at the moment. There is the very likely chance of it being double game week 25 because of Liverpool's ongoing European commitments for the rest of the season. We've got that, okay? We've had the AFCON, we've had the Asia Cup, we've had the 4th round FA Cup results. I'll start off with you, and then we'll slowly work our way through the comps based on your points of view. Were there any massive surprise cup results in the 4th round or even the draw in general?
The draw was pretty poor from a wanting chaos stand-up view or wanting some of the big teams to kind of play some of the big teams in the front. It's more very straightforward, I would say. There's a possible case for a few upsets in there, mainly from, I think, United and Newcastle. Because Newcastle's one, I think, is away. United in general, there's a possibility always for an upset. But the rest of the draw is pretty straightforward, I would say. The one thing that was annoying was the Villa versus Chelsea game getting replayed.
Yes, it is. Oh, yeah. So we won't find that out until prior to the game week 24
Yeah.
deadline.
After
But it
game
wasn't
24.
even...
Oh, before game week 24, yeah.
Yeah, before game week 24. What is the outcome that you'd like out of that?
Based on my squad right now, I would take a Villa win because I only have Watkins and I have Watkins and Areola. But on the other hand, I have Palmer, Gabriel, and Saka. So
Okay.
3v2.
Yeah. I think I'm with you in saying that if Arsenal-Chelsea doesn't become a blank, meaning Chelsea lose, and Villa beating Chelsea all up, that would make it easier for managers to navigate through blank game week 29.
Yes.
I think so, and even probably less tempted to use a free hit. I know we're thinking weeks ahead,
but that's probably the case, yeah.
Carabao Cup, game week 26. Now, it's not only just 4 teams, but especially 3 of them have significant bearing for fantasy managers and the team's relevance, especially with Liverpool. They may double the game week before Chelsea and Spurs. How many players from those 4 sides do you currently have?
So I've got Trent, Porro, Palmer. And yeah, I think that's it. Yeah, that's it. Those are the 3 teams that are blanking that are mainly. So I've got 3 players right now. I might look to add another Liverpool player. So I'll go to 4 players who would potentially blank in 26, but I will remove 1 to try and manage with the bench and not have to free hit. So that's where I'm looking at. So I'll probably get 1 more in terms of like getting Jota. For who, I haven't really decided it. That is something to kind of wait and see. I maybe could sell Palmer, but I don't know if I want to. That would depend on if Palmer gets a blank in 29 or not as well.
I think Palmer probably going to be a hold as it stands for managers come that time, unless he gets catastrophically injured. See, I got my hand up. Touch wood. And then Porro, depending on the return of James Maddison and what implications does that have on his fantasy output. So I got those 2, along with Alfie Doughty from Luton, so as it stands, it's only was 4. There's tease alert, but now it's down to 3. And I'm probably thinking at the time I might have Trent Alexander-Arnold in time, just waiting for that announcement. Hopefully there's a double. And maybe in the Liverpool attacker. But I feel, is there more power, okay, having 2 free transfers heading into game week 25 or 2 free transfers heading into blank game week 26, where it's easier to navigate out of that situation after maybe the potential double?
So when I was planning, I was looking at trying to carry 2 free transfers to 25, but only using 1 of them and carrying the next one to 26, because I thought I would probably need 2 free transfers in 26, depending, because I was thinking, right, because if Liverpool get the double in 25, blank in 26, potentially blank in 29 as well. They play 2 games. One of them is City, one is Forest. And I've got like a Trent sitting there, and I'm like, okay, what do I do with him? I probably might have Jota, and I could potentially move Jota to a Heung-min Son as well in that moment, because Spurs will have a fixture in 29. That's something else that I'm thinking that I could do. So I probably would want 2 free transfers for 26.
I do feel there's just more power out of that situation, because a lot of managers will be taking hits at that time just to make sure they have 11. But I even kind of thinking if you could, I think 9 you might want to take a hit, but if you got 10, I think you could bear with that.
Yeah.
And in addition, I just don't. Okay, So I don't think there's a strong enough case for there to be a free hit as opposed to the future opportunities in terms of game weeks to use it. But this is a crazy part. So if Spurs Man City somehow drew, Chelsea drew to Villa, and Chelsea Spurs were meant to play in double game week 25 instead. Now this unfortunately won't happen. But if it did, is there a bigger case in terms of potentially using the free hit in that game week?
In 26? Well,
sorry,
so 26 we know. Using free hit in 25 for the double.
Yeah, this is hypothetical. If Chelsea and Spurs were actually doubling in that due to a cup replay.
Oh, yes. If they were doubling, there's like a high upside because then you can get the likes of. I spoke about this on my channel as well today. Because you could on a free hit, you could get KDB, Salah, Haaland, Trent. And if you add Spurs into that, you could probably have a Heung-min Son, Palmer.
Yeah, that would be a juggernaut scoreline.
Yeah.
Game week 25 as well. That's if it ever occurred. That's
if
so
that
early
happened,
in the season. Yeah, if it did happen, that's right. AFCON and Asia Cup. I'm sure you touched on it very briefly, but was there any major surprises along with? You may feel free to mention it again. The Salah injury news.
Apart from that, not really. I think.
What about Egypt's departure? Did that come as a surprise in terms of when it happened?
They didn't win a single game in the group stage. After that, I was like, yeah, they're not as good as they probably were compared to the last time they played.
Yeah.
I guess Senegal losing is probably a big surprise. I think they were one of the favorites as well for the tournament. So they're out. Apart from that, not really. I think Egypt, we probably look at like Salah and we think, but the moment Salah was gone, I think that was a big loss for Egypt as well.
January signings as well. Has there been a certain signing from the top of your head?
It's been a very, very quiet January with transfer window, I think. I think I saw a picture there was like a shitload of money spent, like 400 plus million something last January. And this one, it's like 30 million or something from the Premier League. So it's been like very quiet in January. So I haven't really paid too much attention, to be honest.
Straight to the discussion points we go. Okay, so we talked about this guy, and you may have answered this already. A first dot point, and then after this, feel free to go straight to whatever you like. Feel more than welcome to discuss anything that's upon your head. Is it too early to rush for Kevin De Bruyne? Have we seen enough?
It depends on your risk appetite, I would say. Because if you are, let's say, a manager who is trailing and wants to catch rank and whatnot, I don't mind it. Honestly, I see the upside in it. Is it too early? I mean, we saw what he did in 20 minutes. Now, will he do this every single time? Probably not. There is a possibility to try and gain some rank by going early. There is also some pros to kind of waiting and seeing how his minutes are going to be for next couple games at least. There's also the case of if you get KDB, what are you missing out on? Or does it prevent you from getting a Haaland? Does it prevent you from getting a Salah? Or are you willing to move KDB to Salah if you get news that Salah is fit? So there are a few questions like that.
They are. I think Salah injury has certainly transformed more managers to go to Kevin De Bruyne. Yes. If he was not injured and probably back for Chelsea, you would see. Story. Yeah, different story. Some people would have certainly gone for him because I think we know what we can expect, but certainly not as much now. Now, a good case for argument, because you talk about Foden, De Bruyne, and Haaland, and I feel there'll be a good amount of managers going for that trio for City, and City are the main team to target with a double in 25. And more importantly, they don't have a blank in 26 because they had a blank in 18 due to Club World Cup, their home game against Brentford being postponed to a later date. And that's already confirmed. Double. And a case for a Manchester City defence, is that an area worth investing in?
Probably, but I wouldn't say there's much upside to that move. So Walker is someone I think who is probably the most safer for minutes. He does hog that right side where he tends to hold the width for City. So there is a possibility of like a cutback and getting an assist. But overall, I think the upside for City is mainly from their attack. Although that comes with the fair share of pep roulette
So
as well.
much risk, especially with
Yeah.
rotations.
Yeah. It's a high risk play.
Yeah. So you got, man.
Would you go triple City attack or double City attack and one defense, or would you just have?
Yeah, I think as aside with Manchester City have proven that year after year after year, if there's one team in the league where there is certain merit of going triple attack, it's probably them. But if they lose 1-0, that's pretty much nearly your fantasy game week ruined.
Yeah,
especially
but the
if that
chances of losing
includes
1-0 are low. Yeah.
especially if that includes a player that has been captain.
Yes.
That's correct. Now, Luton Town, I'm going to discuss it to them in terms of them at the moment. So we don't know if they'll have a game in 29. They may have a double game week in 28. And they could double in 25, but blank in 26. All hypotheticals, of course. But should it pan that way, is that a side worth investing in? Or not a priority?
You've got Alfie Doherty, probably him, but I
And
don't think it's that's it, kind of, because they blank in 26. Although you were talking about hypotheticals, here's a hypothetical.
Yeah.
Let's say Luton get that double, right? Either 27 or 28. So that means Bournemouth also get that double. Now, would you put your triple captaincy armband on Dominic Solanke, who would probably have, I think, Burnley and Luton possibly as a fixture?
Oh, geez, now this is so tempting, I must say, because he scored that goal before the game was abandoned.
Yeah. Or Haaland, who would have Chelsea and Brentford both at home.
Okay, Chelsea and Brentford both at home. See, I think a shield pick is Haaland, but I think my gut feel in terms of who I think would actually fare really well, should he be 100% by this time, is Kevin De Bruyne, because we've seen him score at home to Brentford before. He scores against Chelsea multiple occasions, but we haven't seen Haaland score against either side.
True, fair enough. But then KDB hasn't been fit then.
Yeah, as a midfielder, so he's further out from his chances.
And there wasn't like at that time, Haaland was dealing with Doku and Doku not wanting to pass to him. So
yeah, oh my days, there's so much to uncover, I must admit. But this is why this is the best.
I don't know. I'm just asking because I'm wondering where to use that triple captaincy chip. And the only other, I guess, Solanke, because Solanke has Burnley in 27 and Sheffield United in 28. Both are really good fixtures.
Yeah, they
along
are.
with the Luton fixture.
I think a triple captaincy chip, it's probably best to avoid using it very late in the season because of that potential rotation due to title-winning sides. I think with a title now, you're going to see a complete different Liverpool outfit. Man City will do their best. I even condemn to this decision as a supporter. I don't think Arsenal are going to win the league this year.
Nah, I also don't think so. I think they'll get in the top 4, but probably not.
That's all right. Chip strategies. Have you had? I presume you've already thought about it. What's your number one probably go-to route right now?
For the moment, it's triple captain in 25. The rest is kind of up in the air based on what happens in the. First of all, the Chelsea versus Aston Villa replay, because that will decide whether I had to free hit in 29 or I can avoid free hit in 29. And then that will impact where I play my free hit and bench boost in 34 or 37. And that will also impact the wild card. So a lot rides on the 5th round of the FA Cup and the replay between Chelsea and Villa. So triple captaincy is for the moment that's kind of certain in 25. Most likely on Haaland, unless Haaland, touchwood, gets a recurring injury or something, then yeah.
Two players I want to talk about before we need to preview our teams. First of all, James Maddison and potential Spurs investment. Is it the right time to do so?
Not with the blank coming up.
I don't think so either.
Yeah, I think probably after 26. That's 27 to 29. Or 27 to 30 actually. They have some good fixtures. I don't mind that.
9 and 29. That's a key.
Yeah. So
and they will double later in the season.
Yeah, but not before the blank, to be honest.
Yeah. So and Ivan Toney, the second one, because he's got a double and he can score against anyone.
This is a tough one because you got Watkins, you got Solanke.
Yeah, I'm in the same boat.
I potentially have Haaland.
Yeah.
Who are you selling?
Yeah. I don't think I'm going to sell either three, to be honest, because they've got really good fixtures. And despite the enticement of having a double, I don't think I want to go there, or just Brentford in general, because it's Ivan Toney the clear consider for a lot of managers. But that's it from that team. You wouldn't go defender?
No. I've seen people talking about Flecken, and for the only reason being that you probably won't have a goalkeeper in 29 if both West Ham and Newcastle blank.
Yeah. Okay.
But even then, I don't like the fixtures.
Yeah. Last question before we need to show our teams. If Haaland and Salah do not play in Gameweek 25, would you still use the TC chip? I probably would.
Yeah, probably. I would buy KDB and then put it on him, like you said.
I think it might be the best time to use it because those that used it on Marcus Rashford last season, and that was one of the best moves all season. I'm not talking about me because I was very late on that train and I used it on one assist by Haaland in the game where Enciso should have won the Puskas Award. But I think 25 because there's less external games to worry about.
Yeah, because also like if you look at the other doubles, right? 34 and 37, the 34 double will depend on whether Liverpool and City get to the semis of the FA Cup, then they get a blank, I think, if I'm not mistaken, and then they move to 37 as a double. So then that leaves it very late, and then at that point, I feel like you would want there will be other chips I would rather use in those double game weeks. Like I would rather use a free hit and a bench boost in those double game weeks compared to a triple captaincy. So it kind of like sit on 25 as the week, unless you get that 27 Solanke or 28 Solanke news potentially. But otherwise, I would probably put it on 25 on KDB if Haaland and Salah do not play. Would you put it on a Liverpool player with a Carabao Cup final like 3 days after?
Oh yeah, that's tricky. I'll probably now that Salah's out, I won't be using the TC on a Liverpool player. I don't think.
Yeah, probably the same.
I think our fixtures are better, arguably.
Yeah, it is, yeah.
But nah, sadly not. I'll look at Trent Alexander-Arnold if you really want to be fancy, but defenders aren't there to be captained.
Yeah.
Maybe him, but not TC.
Yeah. Nah.
That's correct. Oh, geez, I might need a hand towel after that discussion because that was just so in depth. Incredibly engaging. Speaking about engaging, let's go straight to your Gameweek 22 side.
Okay, let me bring that up. I thought I knew what I was doing with the captaincy. Now I might have to rethink about it. But basically, I got Ayola in goal, Gabriel, Pedro Porro, Trent, Garnacho, Bernardo, Silva, Palmer, Saka, Foden captaincy for the moment, Watkins and Solanke. And on the bench, we got Dubravka, Ursula, Trippier, and Branthwaite. Now, if Pep's press conference will be coming in like an hour and a half.
Yeah.
If he says anything positive about Haaland, like he might start, I will bring him in for Ursula and captain him straight away.
Yep. Okay. So out of that, who would you take out of your lineup? Is that be Garnacho?
Garnacho he will go to the bench.
Okay. No, that's fair. So
that's
you haven't used the transfer? Or have you?
No, I haven't used the transfer yet.
Can you roll?
I can roll. If I roll it, this is the team, basically.
Yeah, okay. That's still pretty good for what it is. You got Foden as captain. Oh, okay.
That's what I'm now a bit uncertain on.
Yeah.
But I don't
so
know
who
where.
would your alternative be?
So Saka is one who has the vice
I think
captaincy for the
Saka.
moment.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
think Watkins is very dicey.
Ideally, I would like a penalty taker, but Foden is
That's
not
true.
one. But Foden has the better fixture.
Yeah, I think it's Solanke probably fourth choice.
Probably. But then West Ham have Kudus back.
Yeah,
Paqueta
Bowen back.
probably back. Bowen back. So
Header maybe one game off.
maybe.
Bakuda's definitely, and Bowen.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's back.
So I don't mind
Okay.
Saka as well, but yeah, it's one of those two, I think.
Can I be honest? I love it. I really, really do. I'm excited
We'll see how it goes.
to see what the outcome is. And thank you, as always, for sharing your team. This is mine now. I did mine inside a swim centre earlier today. Salah's gone out. De Bruyne's come in. And we're playing 4-3-3 with two subs if we ever need it. Gordon being first, only because Gordon can genuinely score against anyone. He got an assist, I think it was, at home to Villa in game week 1. He scored against Arsenal.
Your team is not up, by the way.
Oh, hang on. Jeez, thanks. Oh, crikey. This is why I've got someone on the show.
There we go. Yeah.
There we go. Cool. So this is it. Gabriel's a late fitness test. So, and remember in game week 1 when a lot of punters went for him and he got benched due to tactical reasons?
Yep.
Yeah.
I don't think that's going to happen again.
I reckon that might happen again, to be honest.
Oh. Interesting. You mean Gabriel will be benched? Who comes on, Kiwior? Or is Timber fit?
Not Timber. I think Kimwa will play.
Okay.
Should Gabriel be benched? So, but based on this side, Gordon would come on, which I'm quite fine with that, to be honest. I mean, that's kind of how it is. Yeah, Watkins vice, I'll take it. No armband on Haaland. I really want to see his minutes first.
Fair enough.
I think because you pay more with Kevin De Bruyne, so I always captain 10 million plus players, except for last week, and yeah, that stank with Phil Foden. So that's how it is for this week. I can't wait for Charlie Taylor to concede 6 as well.
We'll see what happens.
Yeah, that's all right. I think I'll play with fixture with our Fidelity. I think that's a really good fixture at home to Brighton. That could be ending 4-2.
Yeah, true.
And he has not 9 assists that he actually gets, but he has 9 potential assists. But because Luton can't finish properly, all of our targets go straight to Rosette. Porro, I like, and I think Areola's a better pick for goalie in terms of Dubravka. The big dilemma I kind of had was Palmer or Gordon, but I think Palmer, based on his form, just goes in there.
Yeah, and penalty take as well, right? Just takes something to happen for him to get the penalty compared to Gordon. Yeah. Villa, I think, are third best defense in the last 6 game weeks or something. So,
yeah, that's the case. We've got a fair few questions before Captain's Corner. Now, I will warn to the audience tonight about Captain's Corner. Unfortunately, because of work getting in the way and trying to find podcast members. And thank you, Ryan, for saying yes. I do appreciate it. And this isn't the first podcast you appeared on tonight, is that right?
No, it's the second one.
Second one. What was the first one?
The one with you and Rady. I think that was early in the season.
Sorry, not that one. But was there another one you went on 2 hours ago?
Oh, that was my one. That was my podcast. Yeah.
Okay.
On my channel. Yeah.
Jeez.
Yes, that was 2 hours ago. So I've done 2 podcasts today, technically.
You've had a fair break, so that's not bad. Yeah. That's good.
And then I'll have a tiny nap and then do a deadline stream later.
Oh my God. Jeez, I was thinking of going for a run later, but that's just me. Oh God. That's brilliant. Yeah. It's very, Captain's Corner, unfortunately, it's not going to be informative. We're just going to pick a few players, see what we like about them, and there we go with such. But this is where answering questions is just a fantastic opportunity to. So Will Shaw, 2 threes for 26 is more important. Any hits for 25 are better taken than 24. All the doublers, 25 doublers have good 24 fixtures. I agree with this. So do you.
Yep.
Yeah,
Liverpool play Burnley.
Luton are
Uh,
at home to Sheffield.
Yep. I think
Wolves.
City play Everton.
City play Everton, yeah. All right, is pretty good all round. Arsenal, so in 25, they're at home, no, away at Burnley, which would, okay. So for doubler in 25, would you get rid of Bukayo Saka before game away at Burnley? Yeah, Tottenham are home to Brighton, by the way. I mean,
Depends for who. It depends for who. If it's for Salah, then maybe. If it's for someone like a Foden or Jota, probably not.
so Combe, Saudi Arabia winning against South Korea today could throw a spanner in the works of Gameweek 23. Yes, it could be. You probably mentioned this earlier, didn't you, Ryan?
Yeah, we did. If Son could probably be back, but even then, I wouldn't look to get Son until the same thing applies for Richarlison as well. Like, not until the blank is done.
Still don't think you want Spurs to a Gameweek 27.
Yeah.
Spot on, Will. It's well in agreement. We've asked a triple captain question. Do you think Jota holds a 9 spot when Salah is fit?
Yeah, I don't see why not, because Darwin has the ability to play off the left wing as well. So he could compete with Diaz and Jota could play that number 9. I think Jota is slightly a better finisher than at that number 9 spot than Darwin is as well.
Yeah. No Son. Look, I could do one on this office spin, but I really don't want to get kicked out of this podcast because I think my shift tonight has been half decent. I quite like this one, hopelessly diagnosed to you. Oh, that's magnificent. But speaking of, let's go to captains. I'll try and get my banner up, but it's not going to be about me on this one. I'm sorry to be such a disappointment to everyone that was looking forward to it. I'm just trying to actually see if my banner's there. Don't actually think it is. So, captains, we'll go straight to it. So you got the standouts. So Salah won't be there. Son won't be playing. Haaland coming off probably the bench. Probably not worth captaining a week too early.
Haaland? No, probably. Unless Pep comes and says he's starting, then yes. Otherwise, I think if you own him itself is probably enough. Foden, KDB.
Foden.
A tough spot, man. I
It is
feel like
one.
the thing is, this week is not a bad week to have a differential captain because it's so split.
Yeah. All right. So, what's a good differential?
Now, people have spoken about Richarlison. I think Saka is also still a good option as well.
Yep.
We spoke about Watkins earlier as a possible
Watkins,
case.
yes, that's another one.
Would you go Jota against Chelsea?
I reckon a couple of people will. Yeah, I could see why. It doesn't matter how many minutes he needs; he could easily score. Yeah. That's right. I don't think a West Ham player, Kudus, was that just really
maybe, but
that's very flirtatious.
But I feel like could be. But would he start? He would start, right?
Yeah, I think so. He goes straight in that team. He's so important to David Moyes.
Yeah.
We've already seen that in such a short space of time.
Yeah, fair enough.
Yeah.
But it's so split. There is no standout this week. That's the problem. So it's good in one way because you can go differential, and if it works, and you go big. If not, you kind of have a bit of a small green, small red kind of situation.
Okay, I got another suggestion. Let's go. Oh, Hodgson has declared he's fit. Michael Lisa at home to Sheffield United. Sheffield would have been better.
They have. The question is, I think it's that I want to. Is there a chance for Palace to have a fixture in 29? Because I think they have a good run.
So yeah, I know this off the top of my head. Palace are meant to be at home to Newcastle. Newcastle need to beat Blackburn away from home. So that could be an upset.
Yeah, that was one of the upset I was thinking about. That or the United one, because Newcastle away aren't as good as Newcastle at home.
Mm.
Yeah.
Michael Elise.
I don't mind that.
Yeah, I think that's not too
Elise,
bad. Eze, yes. A ninth. This is ninth person in line. Now he's only showing it in the cup. João Pedro away at Luton. Or just no.
It's away, so probably not away.
Okay.
Because Luton at home tend to make it hard for whoever comes there.
Yeah. Okay. Well, for viewers, we've listed 9 different options, but if you could give a big 1, 2, 3 very quickly, Ryan, who's it for you?
I will go KDB probably, just because he'll be on set pieces.
23% ownership now too.
Yeah, I know. Coleman has mentioned Alvarez on penalties. I think Alvarez is not a bad option. Just minutes are my concern. So I will go KDB, Foden, and probably Saka.
Okay, I will go Kevin De Bruyne as number 1. Then I'll go Phil Foden. And then, I'm going to be different. Thiago Gotta third.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, there you go. All right, that does it for this evening. Vine was at a talking point. Now, I did mention it earlier, and I'm very sorry, but I may have just completely forgot. Was there any discussion point or anything you'd like to give a plug to?
Yes. So before this pod, I did a chip strategy pod with my co-host Karen, and we went into we created a table of where you can play various chips, because I know a few people have already played their wildcard, so there's no point in giving like a set path, because some would have already played a wildcard, some would have already played a bench boost. So we talked about various game weeks where you can play certain chips and the advantages and disadvantages to them. So it's all on the channel Football Chatbox. And then obviously I'll be doing a deadline stream 2 hours before the deadline.
Go. Ryan, we'll leave it as that for this evening. Once again, thank you so much for coming on the pod. I thoroughly enjoyed the discussion. I hope you did as well. God, that was just good fun. It really was. And to those that tuned in, thank you very much. Once again, we should be back here on Friday for, what is the Game Week 23 deadline? We did say 2 deadlines in the space of 5 days, and that is rebounding off 1 deadline within the last illustrious, and some would say incredibly boring 31 days. I'm only joking, because there's been 2 different competitions out of England and 2 different competitions within England. For now, that is all, and until then, may your arrows be green, and good luck to everyone. See you later.
See ya. Awesome.